Welcome, bienvenue, welcome to yet another IPSA Kind of Magic, starring the inimitable man himself, Hamish McLay of Search Convey, and ably assisted by Valerie Bennett of Home Information Services, and of course, Jackie Dyson of the Yorkshire Search Agency Limited, and myself, Gareth of the Many Purple Hats. Now, we talk about a number of different things, all to do with supporting IPSA, the Independent Personal Search Association, of which Hamish happens to be current chairman. Now, today's focus is all about searching early. And as per usual, I'm throwing Hamish straight under the bus.
Good afternoon, all. Good afternoon, all. I hope you're enjoying at least some mild weather. Not bright sunshine here, but working towards it. Hopefully a bit of that at the weekend. I have to make an admission. The task today, of course, we're speaking about what is important about getting searches as early as you can. However, there's a reason behind it. I'm putting together at the moment some ideas and some concepts of some of the most important aspects of what are required, what the client needs. When somebody's buying a property, what do they like to know early on? And if we can find a few of those, as well as getting the full search carried out early, it will make a lot of difference. So I'm trying to compile that. So this is what our discussion is about, getting information early. There is some information which we can actually get in touch with the councils. They will allow us to have it almost immediately, so we can get that early. However, some of the rest of it requires us waiting for them to get round to sending it to us. But are there some key points in all of that, of stuff that we can get really quickly? But for example, I mean, we had a request coming in yesterday saying, look, could we have what you've got already, please? So they've left it a little bit late to order. I mean, this month is an ideal month to be doing it because we've had this great demand for people wanting to get over the stamp duty sort of idiocy that's about to sort of come up. But anyway, so that's the whole feel about it. There are, and of course, the two great experts that we have here. I say experts in terms also of the variation. I mean, the number of council offices that Val's visited, you'd need quite a few hands to count all of those up. She hasn't been to all sort of 300, I don't believe, nor would she want to. I mean, the Isle of Scilly is probably a daft place to be going.
It's very silly. Sorry. What I'm going to do is I'm going to jump straight across to the incomparable Jackie Dyson. So why is getting the search in early a good thing?
Well, obviously a search can raise a lot of things. Also, the purchaser then knows what they're buying, they're looking at. So if you have something like a listed building and there's been works carried out without permission, listed building consent that they require, they need to find out, one, why wasn't it obtained? Two, whether the council will take any action against them, because it's actually a criminal offence to do works to a listed building without consent. And a lot of people don't realise that. So if someone's had double glazing put in a 16th century house without permission, the person that purchases it and doesn't know, they can be forced to take that double glazing out. And that's not a very good thing. So having information up front and quickly, the solicitor conveyancer can then start looking at that search and deciding what he needs or she needs to investigate. Is everything okay? Has something reared its ugly head? So they've then got time to sort out before completion. And that's very important. Otherwise, as we know, it can drag on and on and on. So if you've got information up front, you can do something about it.
Valerie, have you got any apocryphal stories of where having the information up front has either saved time, made money, or helped in some manner?
To be very honest, I actually don't like giving part searches. I don't like giving bits of information. I like to give a full picture. Because I think sometimes even for agents like us, as we gather the information, the full picture can change depending, and also because of mistakes at the council offices in various ways, from the mapping systems, the planning, everything else, they could have bits of information wrong, and then we could be giving bits of information, and then when we get another bit, it's a bit like building a jigsaw. Do you go from the outside in or the inside out? It changes how you do it. So I think it is something that we have to be careful with when we do it, because I do think the answers that we give can change. But there are things that can be useful. If you're looking at a house and you think, well, that tree in the back garden is going to go when I buy my house, and then suddenly in land charges or planning, you find that it's a protected tree and you get told that early enough, you can pull out of the sale if necessary or the purchase because that house is no good. I think I do remember one where it was a client of ours and they wanted to buy this house and there was a tree preservation order on a tree and they specifically wanted to knock the tree down to make an access, a driveway into their property. And then when they eventually got that information and realised that, hang on, there's a protected tree, what we're going to do about it, they ended up pulling out of the house because it wasn't possible. So there are things that are helpful, but I do have a tendency that I want to see the full picture before I start going, here's the land charges, or no, we can't give you land charges, but here's the planning, or here's whatever, but we might be giving planning, but we might not know that in the land charges there's a section 38, there's a section 106 agreement, and if we haven't got that, but we've given planning and highways, you're only giving part of a picture, which does change, so you can be saying, well, it's a new build estate and the road's not adopted, but we don't know if there's any agreements on it or not because we haven't got that yet. So you're only sometimes giving half a story. So I do think we have to be careful when we do that. That's just my opinion. But I mean, I'm going back to when we had hip packs 15 years ago and we had the information that was all there before somebody even put the property up for sale. So they had that. Nobody liked that then.
Well, I think it's the nature of the world at the moment. Everything's accelerating. But Hamish, when is it beneficial in your mind to give some of that information up front early?
Well, to be quite honest, I mean, Val's 100% right. If that information was ready, we do have a challenge with people. They don't look at what they're doing objectively, only because they lack the understanding, they lack the knowledge. If people would actually order searches before they went onto the market, it would be much, much better because it would be glaringly obvious exactly what the picture was about the whole thing. But people aren't doing that, and that's a sad, sad thing. We have to actually wait. We get the complications. They're still doing battle, speaking about this TA6 form of the Law Society, which is to do with what they call the upfront information. I prefer to call it early information because there are some things which are much more important than others. But Val's quite right. Probably one of the biggest areas that we need to know about are actually what goes on in land charges, what the restrictions are on that property. And Jackie would sort of reinforce that because she's actually worked in the land charges office and she would have seen where that situation is vitally important, i.e. in a conservation area of outstanding natural beauty. And as sort of Jack sort of intimated there, she didn't even intimate, actually, is it a listed building? Is there something about it? And of course, what Val said, I mean, again, this is where T preservation order should come in and charges. And this is where communication is important, because it does actually mean, like as Val sort of said there, if somebody wants to put a driveway in and there's a blooming great tree in the way, it makes a significant difference to actually your particular property, because you can't drive through a tree unless it's like some of those big American ones. But
well, when I was 16, I seem to remember trying very hard to drive through a tree. Jackie, can I throw you into the mix, and can you add some sauce to Hamish's main course there, please?
Val is right, but I think the advantage with us is with our independent searchers, because our clients probably, I mean, mine knew what days I went to certain councils, so that they knew on a Tuesday I went to Calderdale, so they'd send me a lot of work on a Monday. So it was done on the Tuesday, and they'd have it back by the Wednesday or Thursday if there was a problem with it. Yes, you can have the information up front, which the HIPS packs did, but with things taking so long at the moment, and in HIPS here they took even longer, the search only lasts 3 months, and after that it is out of date. So you have to have another one done. So, I mean, I can remember, Val, the times that we had double searches on properties where we'd done a HIP, and then 6 months down the line, we had to redo everything again because things change. Road schemes might come on, railway schemes might be approved. So, yes, have some information up front, but the full search, no. I would, as Val says, when you buy a property and you have a search on, you're being told a story of your property. So you need a beginning, a middle, and an end. So if you only have the beginning and the end, but you don't have that bit in the middle, that bit in the middle could contain a hell of a lot more information that you really need. So you need the full story. And again, the coal searches go out of date. The water searches go out of date. So I agree with some upfront information, but having to provide it all, are you going to then encounter that the purchaser will say to you, right, the search is out of date, I want you to repay for it. And the seller, might have expenses that they don't want to encounter. So there's pros and cons for each way of doing it. But as I said, with search agents like us, we know what days we go to the councils. We know how long each council is taking. And your clients get to know that, so they know when to order the search. And the thing is, with these big factory conveyancers, you might order the search on a Monday at the beginning of the month, but you might not get it way until the end of the month because they've got 500 other searches in front of you. And, they probably won't say to you, well, if you want it as urgent, you've got to pay an extra 50 quid, say. So then it becomes more cash an outlay for the people in the process of house purchase.
It does seem to me that with the way everything's accelerating, there'll be a never increasing, always increasing, I should say, amount of searches being placed in front of businesses who are within the factory conveyancing sector. It still, I'm going to go back to banging the drum for local knowledge, I guess.
Yes.
Would you agree, Valerie?
Yeah, definitely it's got to be local knowledge. I mean, if somebody asks me a question about Rochdale or Rossendale or anywhere in my locale, I know, or I'll just nip down to that house and I'll go and have a look at it. Oh yeah, there is a side passage or whatever. You can, done that on many occasions where you actually go and look at whatever it might be. But the difference between there's two councils, so you've got Rochdale, which is 3 miles down the road one way from me, and Rossendale, which is 3 miles the other way. The difference between searches in those two councils currently is 6 weeks. Wow. I can go on to Rochdale and I can sit on the computer this afternoon and I can have a result of a search before the end of today and give that to the client. Rossendale, I've had people going begging for these ones before the end of the month, and they are currently taking 5 to 6 weeks to give me land charges written out on a piece of paper. You know what it's like, Jackie?
Yeah.
And that is between 5 and 6 weeks currently. So that is two councils that are 6 miles apart, and they are a world apart. So I say to people, if you want to buy a house in Rossendale, fine, but you'll be waiting this long for the search. You want to buy a house in Rochdale? Absolutely not a problem. I'll have the search results with you tomorrow morning. Done, sorted. What is the sense in that? And people don't get it, and that's just two local councils. But then again, you've got the councils that are on the HMLR land registry system, where I would imagine a lot of the big online conveyancers, it's very easy for them to log on there, do their own LLC, so they see the land charges information straight away. We don't get the rest of the picture, but we get land charges. So that, I would imagine, has to be helpful to them. But we're only a third of the way through that, aren't we? We've got about 110 on there at the moment.
All right. Well, look, before I wind it up and thank everybody, Hamish, today's proposition seems to have a checkered response. What make you of the Dawn Detectives after all? Would you take us home?
Well, in actual fact, I think both Jackie and Val have reinforced the whole issue. The major thing being, hey, look, ask a local because they know what's going on locally. And they also know the time that it takes, and they're very straight about it. And of course, the advantage relative to that, of course, we will be working, members of IPSA will be working without that hassle, that blooming great stack. But I mean, Val, okay, she's going to have to wait 6 weeks, but they're not in a pile with 600 other searches that she's doing. They'll be apportioned out because they'll be sorted out as soon as Ross and Dale actually sort of get it back. Val will get the searches back, as well as Rochdale. Exactly the same thing can actually sort of be done, and it's quite interesting. I think we've had the odd search or two from Val from Rochdale, and I know how quickly they do come back. So it's great to see it. I do think we've got a demonstration there. If it's someone like Rochdale, a solicitor really would put themselves in a difficult situation if they decided to wait before actually ordering.
Oh, Val wants to say something quickly. Yes.
What about Rochdale? The difference there is if you ask a local person, and yes, I can get it done in sort of 4 or 5 hours, easily. But their official searches are taking 6 to 8 weeks.
Oh,
Because I had to do an official one for a client because their banking had to have an official one. And I just got it back yesterday. And I think that was from, the 2nd or the 4th of February that was submitted. And it's taken the best part of 8 weeks. So the difference is 8 hours for a local search agent to go and do it, or 8 weeks for the council to do it.
Oh, well, okay. Well, but I believe, Hamish, they are improving, aren't they?
Well, some of them, they have to, really. They don't have any choice. Land Registry will do certain things. They're not doing. Something will actually sort of happen with them. But, I mean, this is the beauty. It is that particular sort of knowledge. And there is a struggle to make a decision. When do we actually get that information through? And I think as soon as we can let the buyer know what the answers are to some of these questions, the more relaxed they are about it. The last thing we want to do is to allow people to get emotionally involved with a particular property, then to find out that there's something that they cannot do as a consequence of that information coming through far too late. And surveyors are often there very, very late in the day as well. There's important things to do. You don't go and buy that car with your blindfold on. You wouldn't do the same with a house. And unfortunately, although there aren't as many component parts, moving parts within a house, there's a lot of moving parts to pull together to buy a house. So get some of the most important ones through early. And I think, get that local person to do it as well.
Well, look, all that remains for me to say is thank you so much, Valerie, Jackie, and of course, Hamish. And here we fly the flag for local knowledge, for getting the right information to the clients so they can make the right decision as soon as possible. And the best way of doing that is by using the services of an IPSA member, that's independent personal search agents, because then you'll get the mixture of local knowledge, as Valerie quite promptly and obviously said, mixed with the dogged desire to get all the information and not just a small window on it. Until next time, I see you. Thank you so much for taking a part in this. And thank you all of you for watching. And remember, keep your feet on the ground. Keep reaching for the stars. But please, please do look after that mental health. Bye-bye now.